Hey everybody, it's Matt Johnson. We are back here with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. Thank you so much for joining us. And we just want to speak real quick while we wait for a few people to join us live. If you have a chance to follow us on Facebook or Twitter, you might be able to see and watch the live version here as we record. But if you're watching this replay on YouTube, just want to thank you and make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And then if you prefer the audio version, just nestled right here between your ears, make sure to head on over to iTunes or Stitcher and subscribe there. But we have a little bit different episode. This is going to be a special interview episode. We've got an amazing guest today. So let me first bring in my co-host, the co-pilot, the junior grandmaster himself, Greg McDaniel. Greg, what's up today?
Matt, what's going on, buddy? Hey, I am so excited to have Jay on our show today. There's going to be some content that is going to knock your socks off, you guys. This man has been blessed to be a part of all of our lives, and you don't even know it yet. But he also wrote an amazing book that I'm in the middle of called Disrupt You. That is helping me change the way I view my business, and which I'm going to probably dump a lot of work on Matt because I'm going to have a lot of ideas. I feel bad for you. But you guys, it is an amazing time. Get your notepads and pencils out. He is going to blow your mind.
That's right. So just a quick intro there. I could go on and on about Jay, but it's Jay Samit, the author of Disrupt You. So Jay, you're a serial entrepreneur. You're the former global president of digital distribution at EMI, among many, many other things. You've also taken a video chat service called Uvu to over 100 million users. So Jay, I don't know how you even explain to somebody that you meet on a plane what it is that you do, but what are you up to these days?
Well, I'm a public CEO of a company called Sea Change International. We have clients in 70 countries. If you've ever ordered a movie on pay-per-view, we're that software technology that makes that possible. So we're the people that made TV complicated. Then I had Disrupt You come out, and it has just been an amazing response. I've heard from people in over 100 countries. It's in 6 languages. And it was really just my way, after having repeated success, that it's not because I'm bright or different or anything, and all my friends being successful, that we looked at it at how to do business a different way. And if you suddenly see the world as not a series of obstacles that are putting you down, but that every problem's an opportunity, you can grow your business. And the world is changing, and it is disrupting. And if you say, well, I'm in the real estate business, land hasn't changed, in millions of years, or 5,000 years if you're in the red states, you're wrong, because it's how we use land. It's how, what good is an office building if people will now telecommute? What good is a shopping center if people are doing everything on e-commerce? I'll tell you the most significant trend in real estate, if you're into residential real estate, is the uptick in women freezing their eggs. You know what I say? What's Jay talking about? I'm not talking about a frozen omelet. I'm talking about women are delaying starting families. The age at which a family start is older. Millennials are graduating from college, everyone with a mortgage and no one with a piece of property. So that's called student debt, which now exceeds credit card debt and home debt. So they're now delaying it. And so that whole idea of moving out to the house and the burbs may not be a goal for people. What they're looking for is less, because they need less space. Why? Because of the sharing economy. You're not buying things. So when your largest retailer in the world, Alibaba, has no inventory, when your largest hotel chain owns no hotels, Airbnb, when your largest taxi company, Uber, has no cars, when the biggest media company in the world, it isn't from Hollywood, it's Facebook, and they don't make any content, just profit. You have to stop back and say, our world is changing at a Darwinian rate that we can't handle, and if you don't embrace it, you'll be left beside.
It's interesting that Facebook is the largest media company. When you actually sit back and think about it, it's true, because everybody's uploading everything to it on a constant basis. It's like the world's largest seller of wine is Costco. It's you would think it would come from some fine winery, but it's not.
Yeah. So when you look at your real estate business, here's the biggest change that didn't happen. And so in the past, I was the chairman of the company that pioneered and invented crowdfunding for commercial real estate. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry goes and puts money in a bank. The bank accumulates this, pays you nothing or next to nothing for it, and then they go out and lend it to people that need it. Why not take the bank out of the middle and connect the person wanting the money with everybody that has the money and turn it into a buyer's market where they can make choice? So first, this was done with Prosper and Lending Tree for consumer debt. I'm Joe, fireman. I've been on the job 18 years. You know I'm steady and all this, and I'm paying 35% on my credit card. And you can say, I'll buy $2,000 worth of your debt, and you just pay me 12%. And so millions of people make money by doing that. And so we went out and did the same thing in commercial real estate and said, wait a second. And the first one that we did to get attention, and I'll talk about that later, was the Hard Rock. Everybody knows Hard Rock Hotel.
Yeah.
Hard Rock wanted to expand in Palm Springs where they do Coachella. So we said, you can own that. They're not going to go out and borrow the money from a bank. You, the consumer, can do it. They get a lower rate. You get a higher rate. And to make it more interesting in this world, we looked at the Jay Samit way of doing things. Said, since you're going to be an owner, and I'm doing air quotes for those just doing the audio piece, you get an owner's card, which would then give you a discount on your room, would give you a special cabana at the pool, discount at the restaurant. So now you say, wait a second, I go every year to Coachella, or I always go to Palm Springs. I can now be an owner of a hotel and brag, hey, I'm one of the owners, and I get this discount. But that also means that hotel that just went to borrow money from the public has more public that will want to stay there, which means they'll do even better, which means those investors make more money. Yeah. Can you see how the whole world changed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. It's hard to, I guess, to wrap your brain around how that can affect all the different areas. But yeah, the biggest companies in the world are now the ones that are not providing anything themselves. They're the intermediaries or the platforms, the eBays of the world, the Amazons of the world, and things like that. So it creates a whole new environment where you as an individual have to learn how to thrive in a completely different system that may have only changed in the last 5 years or 10 years. It's incredible.
Yeah, so you nailed it. We're all networked and connected. We all hold in our pocket something that connects us to 6 billion people. So you only have to be right for a nanosecond to become a billionaire. Okay? So social, new way to marketing, whether you're in the real estate business or any business. Mobile, new way that we're all connected, and then the big data that's behind all this. And so people are coming up with more and more intriguing ways to do it. And you say, well, what does that impact down the road? What is the impact on real estate of self-driving vehicles? Okay? Huge change. Self-driving vehicles in the next 5 years. The most hate I've ever gotten on anything I've ever written was I did an article for TechCrunch to promote the book that said within 10 years driving your car will be illegal. And people thought I was like, ripping the steering wheel out of their dead hands like Charlton Heston. But realistically, what's going to happen within the next 10 years is fiscally that is true. Your insurance company is going to say, oh, you want to drive your own car? Fine. Your insurance rate is 10x of the person that has an autonomous vehicle that doesn't kill 250,000 people a year. Right. And people would like to drive cars like people like to ride horses today. But if you're now able to be in your car and eat and watch movies and do your work, and it's an office. In Germany right now, they have 18-wheelers on the Autobahn, okay? Big semis. But the German worker laws require, they're automated cars, that there be somebody in there. So instead of having a driver from the drivers union, they basically go, Fritz from accounting, your office is going to Dusseldorf today. Enjoy the view. And they basically put a laptop and, it's an office. So how does that change what location is more valuable? Where are populations moving to? What cities are infill? So when you really look at what is causing change, you can very quickly put the pieces together and benefit and make a lot of money.
So what are the changes, like you talked about doing crowdfunding for commercial real estate? Do you see that transferring over into residential in terms of making loans, people pooling together money and making loans available to private homeowners? Do you see that coming down the pipe?
So lots of people are doing that, especially in the refi market today. So there's probably about 40 crowdfunding sites just dedicated to real estate, and they go soup to nuts all over. So crowdfunding's been used for mobile home parks. It's been used for strip centers. It's been used for office buildings. It's been used for residential and apartment. I'm not a real estate expert. That wasn't my piece of understanding the business, but it was fascinating to learn how people saw some of the trends that I talk about and why Disrupt You was so important. And I'll give you one example. Somebody was crowdfunding buying the big abandoned big box Circuit City, Best Buy, the big giant 40,000 square foot stores. And you're going like, what a sucker. There are no giant brick and mortar chains coming. Everything's shrinking, everybody's going online. Correct. but everybody's also living in smaller places and delaying moving out to the houses, and they have all this stuff because we're pack rats. So those big boxes are perfect infrastructure to convert into public storage, and they already have large parking, and they're in a location where people are. So again, looking at things differently. Most of 70% of the world's billionaires today are self-made. They didn't inherit it, they didn't go to the right schools, and they have the same 24 hours in a day that you and I do. Mm-hmm. So what are they doing differently? How are they thinking differently? How are they thinking bigger? And everybody wants to change the world, but it really starts with changing yourself. And the second you can overcome what's limiting you, a lifetime of everybody told you what you couldn't do and what you're not good enough and you're not smart enough, second you realize that that's all BS, the world becomes this amazingly fun opportunity.
One of the things that stood out to me about Disrupt You was the idea of really looking at a process and figuring out, like, in that value chain where the most value is. And I think that's one of the things that separates your thinking process from the average person's. So how did you arrive at that, and how do you look at the world or train yourself to look at the world through that lens?
Oh, so tough to do in less than 100 pages, but what we're basically talking about, and I'll use the example that's in the book, all parts of a business aren't equal. You don't make money from all of your labor, and you do tons of stuff every day that you think you have to do, and everybody gets involved working in their business instead of on their business. So if you take a step back and say, what piece of the value chain? Is it research? Is it marketing? Is it development? Is it manufacturing? Is this in your particular product, world? Where is the value made, and where can it be captured? So the example I use in the book is diamonds, right? Every one of us guys, sooner or later, gets down on one knee and gives up, months or years of salary for a rock that is not rare, okay? That a century ago you could have given any type of ring to betroth, but a marketing campaign from a monopoly that's not allowed to have any of their officers in this country came up with the idea of, it's got to be a diamond or you really don't love me, and you don't have a chance. So do you want to go and buy a diamond mine, okay? And hire tons of people that, you got to watch that they're not stealing it and they're basically, working horrible conditions? No. They take thousands and millions of tons of dirt and they make very little money. Do you want to be the person that cuts the diamonds? Oh, that adds a lot of value. That might be a place. But there's only really one cartel that controls the buying of it, and you're not going to replace them. So there's only a couple of choices in that value chain where money was made. And one was a kid at Stanford. And I really didn't talk about it in the book, but it was an amazing story. Everybody, when he was at Stanford getting his MBA, started at .com. Okay, it was about 10, 12 years ago. He could care nothing about it, but he decided to go out and buy that engagement ring. And when each store, he realized there's no transparency of pricing. There's no, what should it be costing me? Is this guy ripping me off? What's the quality of da, da, da. Right. So he started a thing called Blue Nile, the first online seller of diamonds. Today, Tiffany's isn't the biggest seller of diamonds. Blue Nile is. Everybody that has their inventory, it's the same as Uber and everything else. He doesn't own all these diamonds. He's not taking any risk. Everybody that has a store is quietly listing every stone that they have without their name on it, because if he can sell it, great. He'll make his points. He takes less margin, but he's taking no risk on inventory. He's the largest seller of diamonds, and he never touches them. Now, in the beginning, did he have some mistakes that were amateur? Yeah, I was a customer of his for jewelry one day, and you got a envelope in the mail that says it's from Blue Nile, and what a shock that when I got it, it was slit and empty. And when I called up, because it was a very expensive piece of jewelry, they instantly said, "Hey, it's our problem." Or, they were literally taking all their envelopes to one postal place to send them out with one carrier. And but I talk about when we invented lottery machines back, in the beginning of my career. We had no security in those. The idea that somebody would know how to hack the software or steal any of it never occurred to us, right? We were, young kids doing everything. And the only one that we ever got hacked on was we had a contest in Michigan where if you lived in the same city, there were 3 cities who would randomly print on the ticket. You got a bonus. And this large award, it's been so many years I don't remember, for millions, was never cashed in. And one day, like right before the end of the year, it gets cashed in. Well, a former employee is doing time in prison for misspelling.
Oh, my God. Unbelievable.
Oh my
Jay,
God.
one quick question for you.
Anything.
It always comes down to that pivotal moment when that aha moment when you start looking at your business in a different way. What was that for you? And how can someone recognize it maybe in your life, in their lives?
What is bothering you? What is your problem? What is annoying you? Here's the exercise and I tell people to do, and I have a workbook that can help them do that. Write down today 3 problems in your life. Everybody has problems. If you don't have problems and you have a perfect life and you grew up with a silver spoon in your mouth, congratulations, go run for president. But if you really want to, I personally believe that the purpose in life is to live a life of purpose, is to, you're not going to live forever, but what you create can, add value, make the world different, better, whatever way that means to you, and you'll make money. If you solve for others, solve for enough people, you make millions. Write down 3 problems and do this every day for 30 days. Today it's easy. You were stuck in traffic. It's some big obvious ones. But as you go through your life, things that you accepted as normal, as malleable, as permanent, you realize aren't. And I'll give you one from one of my readers of Disrupt You that is like one of my favorite examples. Right before we got on, I'll make this up, did I take my medicine? I was supposed to take medicine. Oh, I don't remember. I got on the call. Didn't I? How many millions of people go through that mental thing every day?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know those Happy Meal watches, those little, 6-cent little watches that kids get with Spider-Man or whatever from Happy Meal? You take that watch, you put that on a pill bottle. Every time the pill bottle closes, it sets the countdown clock to 0. So you pick up your pill bottle and go, oh, it's been 4 minutes since I took my medicine. Oh, it's been 12 hours. Okay. Drug efficacy is a huge issue. If you follow your prescription, you'll get healthier quick. So that was a great way to disrupt that business. He didn't invent the pill bottle. He didn't invent the thing. But now he's making millions. But let's take the disrupt you approach the other way. We now have nationalized healthcare. The single biggest change we can make to healthcare, the easiest change, is if everybody followed the prescriptions religiously, we as taxpayers would save tens of billions of dollars a year.
Right.
So you now go and get some lobbyists, you get a bill into Congress, you get every prescription's mandated to have these new caps, of which he has the patent. And now it goes from a good idea to being a billionaire because one day in those 30 days he forgot to take his medicine.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
We all have those issues. Like you mentioned traffic. I hate traffic.
Right.
I lived in LA. It's getting bad up here. So I was having the exact thought today. I'm like, how can I not be sitting in this? And actually, I was listening to you actually right then about writing those 3 things down, and I've actually made that my goal. I am going to do that. I'm going to write down 3 problems every day, big or small, whatever they are.
And at the end, you'll have the same deal flow as the biggest venture capital firm. You'll have $90 billion ideas. And then follow the one that impacts the most people and that you're the most passionate about solving. So let's do the traffic one. LA, yeah, we've got huge traffic. Turns out everybody has traffic because cars became cheap and da-da-da. Yeah. So 2 kids are sitting in traffic in Tel Aviv. And they're going, this traffic sucks. I don't do Israeli accents. And the one guy says, wait a second. The phone company knows I'm in my car, and he knows he's in his car. So if we could have an app that would tell me to go left and him to go be right, there'd be no more traffic. That was Waze. They became billionaires without ever making a penny in profit. Okay? It's that easy. You don't have to be an engineer. Steve Jobs wasn't an engineer. Okay?
Break that down a little bit, Jay. I remember that part in your book. And the part I want you to break down a little bit is the fact that they didn't own anything, but help the listeners to this and the viewers. What were the steps that they went through to get there?
So the first misconception is that you have this aha moment, this eureka moment. Oh my God, I've solved the traffic thing. I'm going to be a billionaire. Life goes on. And everybody thinks it works that way, and it doesn't. And the next mistake that people make is they believe, now I need to nurture this idea like a young bird until it blossoms and can fly away. Wrong. You have to kill it. You have to go find 10 people that would benefit from this, not relatives, not friends, 10 people in whatever the sector is that you're trying to fix, okay? In crowdfunding, we went to the biggest developers. They constantly develop. They're going to still develop. But if I can get their cash quicker, would they become a customer? Yeah, I'll talk to you, nerd boy. What do you want to know? So go with your idea to these people and have them kill it. And they will tell you why you suck, why it's stupid, why it's the worst idea. And you're going to go home every day and be glad that they did. You know why? Because you're iterating and changing and improving your idea without spending any money, because it's all mental. When you get that idea to what I call a zombie idea, an idea that can't be killed, you can't find anybody that can sink your ship. Then you put it on a little piece of paper, and you can go out and get crowdfunding to fund it. You can go to VCs to fund it. You can go to friends and family. You can go to people in the industry, okay? Fast food didn't exist, okay? And McDonald, Ray Kroc, he wasn't the McDonald brothers. He saw this hamburger thing, and nobody understood this idea of fast food, okay? He saw it before everybody else. How are you going to go out, and this is, half a century ago, how are you going to go out and raise money? He went to meat wholesalers. He said, if this works, da-da-da. Then there was a kid who wrote a business plan in school. He didn't even get the top grade for it, that you could ship packages through hubs as opposed to point to point. All packages used to go, if you have a package from New York to Florida, it would go New York to Florida. If you had one from New York to LA, go New York to LA. It makes sense. And he said, no, if you had a hub system that every package went to one place, Tennessee, and then they went on planes from there, it actually turns out to be more efficient. And that was the founder of FedEx. And he couldn't get a dime. But he saw in the newspaper, when he's thinking through why he can't raise the money, that a sale fell through for 10 planes. 10 giant planes were just manufactured and no buyer. So now he has a market for those. I mean, in the book, I talked about, going and doing multi-million-dollar, $60 and $80 million deals with Coke and McDonald's and others, that they never wanted a piece of my equity, they never wanted a piece of my business, they never wanted their money back. There will people that will give you money because they benefit from your idea as well.
Would you happen to have a list of those folks?
They're endless.
I love this.
That's awesome. I just came from CES this week. Slight aside, but it represents it. There are tons of new companies trying to come up with new consumer electronics and all kinds of gizmos, and we love it and everything. And it's the most expensive, show. It expands every inch of Vegas. And you're a small company, and you go, wow, this is really expensive, and how is anybody going to notice me compared to the giant, Microsoft booth or the giant Samsung booth or whatever? When I was a little old guy with, 10 employees and launching my stuff, I looked at that same thing, and I said, let me solve the problem. And the problem is no one is going to walk to the farthest ends of Earth to see my little 10 by 10 booth when somebody's got a self-driving car and a robot that juggles and everything else. But all those big companies don't have ideas, they have a new product. So if I can show how my product can be demoed on their stuff, okay? So my company, for its first years, you could only find us in the Microsoft booth or the IBM booth or the Apple booth. So the most expensive real estate at the most expensive trade shows was given to us for free.
Interesting.
So that's called OPM, other people's money, and it works for every type of business. Find a business that has a problem and then triangulate how you can solve it. I had to launch a music store, compete with iTunes, and how am I going to do that? iTunes was spending $100 million a year. I had zero budget. So I looked around who's in trouble, and there were two companies in trouble back then. United Airlines and McDonald's. McDonald's supersized me had come out and killed made it uncool to eat there, and United Airlines was in bankruptcy. And you go, what does that have to do with buying a digital download of music? Well, start putting the dots together, work backwards. And what I ended up doing is, McDonald's, I can make you cool. Buy a Big Mac, get a free track. We'll put a scratch code on everything. We'll turned out, talked Justin Timberlake into doing his first TV commercial, put him in there because he was breaking out from a boy band and was going to be a rap artist, and Vanilla Ice was the only other guy that had tried that, and so he was nervous. Turned out JT knew what he was doing, so JT did a national commercial for nothing or near nothing. Well, McDonald's then buys millions and millions, $60 million worth of TV time to get you into the store to get free music, but the only way you get that free music is how? You have to go to my website, sign up as a customer, and download the music. And United, you could use your frequent flyer miles and cash them in for music. And in exchange, we did a concert in the sky, Sheryl Crow, playing for a plane full of press, and then that video played in every flight for a month around the world. So first week I had 20 million customers. Total cost of marketing, $0.00.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
The thing with the Hard Rock got 10,000 investors to sign up. It was the Hard Rock that wanted to promote it, not me.
Huh. Yeah, so I had a conversation with a friend of mine a long time ago, more on the nefarious side of industries, let's put it that way.
Okay.
And he and I were having a beer one day, and he said, "Greg, you got to remember something. Money is flying above your head at all times. All you have to do is figure out how to reach up there and grab some of it." And I'll never forget that.
Spot on. And I'll put it more specifically without the nefarious part. Okay. In 2014, all VCs in the U.S. gave away $20 billion. In 2015, they doubled it to $40 billion. So that venture capital firm goes out of business if they can't find somebody to give that billions to. So all you have to do is learn how to speak in a way that they want to give it to you. And here's the funny thing about it. Most people are intimidated that these are all knowing, the oracle of Sand Hill Road. No. The bottom line is the schmucks that got MBAs have never worked in any business, don't know anything except how to read a spreadsheet. So it's the only test in your life where you get to write the questions.
Huh.
And that's the mistake people make. We're going to do $50 bazillion, and then a year goes by and you go, it's not. If you say, I will give people half off at a pizzeria if 10 people sign up to buy pizzas, and we're just going to do this in Chicago. Okay, then this works, and it works really well. So then you make a little spreadsheet that shows if we do this in 100 cities, we'll make $1 bazillion, give us the money to expand, and they go, okay, Groupon, or as I called it, Grouponzi, here's hundreds of millions of dollars for an idea that didn't hold any water, because they're not experts in your business. What you have to learn how to do is communicate to the person across the table, not solve for anybody else.
Yeah, learn to speak their language, right? Learn to see what problem they're having, which is finding good companies that have value, that can hold the water, so that they can continue to get their investments.
And 99% of businesses that get VC funding pivot. I mean, including mine. I took over a company a few years ago that was down. Nobody saw any value in it. It was down to its last $200K, and 18 months later, Fox acquires it for more than $200 million. What happened? Did it make profit during that time? No.
They bought the idea, right?
No, we built up a lot of traffic and a lot of noise, and showed a new way of changing and disrupting how advertising works. And Fox is sitting there saying, people aren't watching commercials on TV anymore.
No, they're not.
We need a solution. So if you're the only solution, you don't have to be the right solution. One of my sayings is, be the best at what you do or the only one doing it. Because if you're the only one doing it, that means you're the best.
Two birds with one stone.
Yeah, building the brand of one. All right, so before we send this one home, I've got just a couple, hopefully, quick questions for you that just kind of about the creative process and how you keep yourself both informed and motivated. So number one, obviously, in order to come up with all these ideas, you have a lot of inputs from a lot of different places, and you're paying attention and tracking a lot of different industries and different developments. So what are the sources that you go to keep your head filled and keep up with what's going on?
So I have an unfair advantage. Everybody goes, how do you predict the future, so accurate for decades? I hang out with the people that are creating it, okay? We started the world's first auction, eBay, I was blessed to work with Reed and LinkedIn and all these things that are used by billions of people, and you look at that data. So, there's more challenging ways to do it. Look at what the big companies are filing as patents. Why is it that Apple is filing all kinds of tennis shoe patents? Because Apple's coming out with shoes. Why? Because you can use walking to charge your watch and your other wearables. Lots of ways. And for every industry, there's endless blogs, endless sources. But the key point is you have to commit to a lifetime of learning. The world is changing too fast. Would you go to a doctor my age that hadn't learned anything since he left med school 25 years ago?
No.
Hell no. Okay? So why should anybody hire you or work with you if you're not putting that type of knowledge in to be current?
Okay. So hang out with the people that are making the history.
And hang out with the people that you want to be.
Yeah.
Remember those idiots from high school? They're still idiots, and they're still hanging out somewhere.
I heard the 33% rule. Hang out with 33% of your time. Hang out with people that are below you, right? Then you hang out 33% of the time with people that are your peers, and then hang out 33% of the time that are above you. Therefore, you're giving back to the world. You're working with your peers, and then you're learning to give back and then talk with your peers.
Sounds nice. I'd rather spend all my time being the dumbest guy in the room,
yeah,
and getting better and further, and then let my money and projects that I create help the people that
the bottom 33.
I may not always have the patience to help one-on-one.
That's true. All right. And Jay, last question for you. So how do you keep yourself motivated to keep on chasing these bigger goals? So obviously the world is changing. It doesn't get any easier to achieve. So how do you keep yourself motivated just to get out of bed on a daily basis, keep on chasing?
So it does get easier to achieve for two reasons. Okay, when I was, in my 20s and knew everything back then, I used to, yell, "Why don't they get it? What I'm saying is right. It's inevitable." Da 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 da. Now the same people that don't get it are not willing to challenge my track record. So it's really easy to change the world. And getting to work with presidents and popes in countries and change educational systems and do all kinds of really amazing stuff. And so what keeps me motivated is I only have so many days left on this planet. I mean, we don't get that much time, and there's so many new things that you can do. I could rattle off $10 billion businesses that people haven't gotten off the ground yet that I guarantee in the next 3 years we'll all be using, but I can't do all of it. But what I can do, if I can just go on a soapbox for half a second, we look at what's happening in our country in the urban areas, in Ferguson, in Chicago. We look at what's happening to the Spain and the Greek economy. We look at ISIS, okay, and you say, these are all horrible situations. They have nothing in common. Wrong. What you have is massive unemployment for those under 30. The millennial generation is 2.3 billion people. That is more people than were on the entire planet when my parents were born. There will not be jobs for 2.3 billion people. Okay? Fortune 500 companies employ 1 million less. 3D printing is going to wipe out 320 million manufacturing jobs. Office automation will cut white-collar jobs in the U.S. by 50%. Self-driving vehicles, the #1 job in the country is a truck driver. Those are all. So we're either going to devolve and have a whole bunch of people that don't see a future. And last time that happened in the Weimar Republic, took about a couple rebel rousers and 80 million people die. So I'm on a soapbox to show people how much opportunity there is, because anybody can make it. And I've watched it over and over again. And there's kids that I talk to in the book that created stuff in their teenage years that make me feel like I've wasted my 50 years on this planet. So that's the motivation. And, anybody that reaches out to me at jaysamit.com or at Jay Samit on Twitter, I'll send you free the companion workbook so you can do those exercises and start expanding your mind, because you're as limitless as the universe, right?
Yeah.
Don't listen to people that gave up on their dreams telling you to give up on yours. You got one shot. Why not, live this great life? I mean, if you really want to have a horrible moment, go home, stare in that mirror, and ask yourself the following question. Are you living life or just paying bills until you die? When did you give up on what you wanted to be, and why? You're unstoppable. The only person that stops you is you. Yeah. So motivation is there, opportunity's there. Is it going to be easy? Is there some quick, late night, buy my course of how to buy real estate and make a million? No. Success isn't guaranteed, but you'll never know how close you are to it if you don't try or you give up.
Yeah, that's very cool. The Jim Carrey's graduation speech, when he talked about his father, when he said that the fact, I watched that speech quite a bit, and he says that, his father took a safe job, and he gave up on his dream of being a comedian. So you can die doing either. Why not die or fail doing the thing that you love? And
100%. And that fear not only robs you of the life that you could have, but it robs the world of your creations.
Yeah.
Everybody has this, security robs ambition. There's no such thing as a secure job. Yeah, your career will be disrupted, guaranteed.
Oh, yeah.
So why have the illusion of security rob that ambition? Of the Fortune 500 companies, the original Fortune 500 companies, only 57 are on the list. So you got that safe job, that whatever that goal was, that gold watch isn't coming. So why, trade a day, a year, 5 years for something that you don't believe in?
Yeah, I hear the happiest people I hear on all podcasts and books and interviews and TED Talks and everything else are the people that said, "Screw it, I'm done. I'm not living this life anymore." And they stopped the job, they stopped whatever was killing them, they went and followed a passion, and it's made them who they are today. I was listening to a Success magazine, and Darren was interviewing a gentleman who went and quit his job and is putting his quote unquote 10,000 hours in to be a golf professional. And he's following a passion of his now, and he's you can see that he's vibrant and he's alive. So anyone watching or listening to this, if this is resonating with you, like has resonated with me, go get the book, that Jay wrote, Disrupt You. It is truly amazing, and like he said, there's a 40-page workbook, which I have literally in my bag. That's right there, that I'm working through.
Yeah, very cool.
Take the time to write it out, think it through. Don't just kind of fly by it and like, put one-word answers. No. Really take the time and work through this stuff, guys, because there's something that transfers when you go from everything in your mind to putting it down onto paper. It clears the clutter between your ears, and it makes it clear as a bell when it touches that paper. So if you do this, guys, we would love to hear from you. Jay, we'll reach back out to you and kind of give you some feedback and kind of what the listeners thought about it, because I know it's going to change a lot of lives.
Why don't we put this on the calendar? If you and your partner will commit to do this for 30 days, write down the 3 things, go through the process. Sure. If you guys each do that, at the end, we'll talk about it. We'll do another one, and we'll pretend that I'm the money VC, and you guys will pitch which of your ideas and why and what happened out of it, and sink or swim, do a Shark Tank. But
game on.
I think you'll find it a really powerful experience, and you hit on a key tenet. So many people believe they'll be happy when they're successful, right? Mm-hmm. When I have money, I'll be happy. Life is the adventure. We all hear that. Success doesn't make you happy. Happiness makes you successful.
Yeah.
Start with that positive attitude. When you're in that negative funk, oh my God, the bills, the world, everything sucks, you won't get a good idea. It's impossible. That person that's always in that funk shuts down emotionally, intellectually. So if you start with the positive thinking, and I talk about Jim Carrey, I don't know if you got to that part in the book. He did what's called effectuation. He wrote a check to himself.
Yeah, the $10 million one, right?
He put a date on it. Mm-hmm. So all of us have dreams. The second you put a date on a dream, it's a goal. Okay? Mm-hmm. And you don't have to know all the steps to get there, but you can use the steps to work backwards. So a lot of the disruptors map and thinking is how to work backwards. So this isn't. I'm not a tree hugger, a fire walker. I'm not selling you anything, folks. I don't make money from the book. I'm not out there doing that. What this is if I can help other people, and I will tell you the one unintended consequence of writing this book. I was really wanting to help people, and I didn't. I'm a public company CEO. Let me describe that, because nobody knows what a CEO does. Every email, every phone call, every meeting that makes it to the CEO level has one thing in common. It's a problem. Okay? Okay? Right? Right?
Yeah.
I put on my high boots. I wake up every day and I have a shovel, and I have a lot of shit and fires to deal with, right? That's the world, right? Writing this book was the opposite. I hear from people like you all over the world. I've heard from people in 141 countries of how it's changed their lives, motivated them, they saw new insight. One guy, I invested in his business. He was busy, he did the audiobook, he was commuting, there was a family problem. I won't talk about all his problems, but he didn't see in his 30-day thing that having to drive 3 hours to deal with a family situation was the problem. And he's sitting there in the car one day and goes, wait a second, that's the biggest problem. This affects thousands of families. And he came up with a solution that I said, if you can get the patent on that, I'll get you all the funding in the world you want. It's the most brilliant idea. And so, anybody can do it. And I want to live in a world where people are making my life easier by solving my problems. Mm-hmm. So that's all that an entrepreneur is. You're solving people's problems. And I wish everybody success, and we'll try to figure out how to counter something in a month or so. And I think this will be a fun version.
I am looking forward to it. Jay, you don't know this, but Matt and I have different views on things, and we love to banter. So in 30 days, when we all get back together and we get to see who's coming back with what, this is going to be
don't share with each other. Go to other people for advice to kill your ideas, and take it seriously. And by the way, the crowdfunding idea came from 2 students. So before I did the book, I tried doing this one class at a time at college level. And Those 2 students did $150 million the first year.
Matt, you and I, one of us is going to be very rich, my friend, and I know who that's going to be.
Oh, all right. Challenge accepted.
Thank you.
All right, Jay.
And thank you, the audience, for putting up with my talk.
Yes, I'm sure it was very laborsome for them. Jay, thank you again. We appreciate it. We will get something on the books with you, and we really appreciate you flying back from Vegas all the way to California very early this morning just to do this with us. Thank you again.
Terrific.
All right.
Yeah.
Take care.